Welcome back to my lovely HP community and the 5D collective, those who have chosen their destiny by choosing to be yourself and choosing mindfulness and spirituality, or one and in the other, to bring forth the amazing journey of love, enlightenment, and humanity. You overflow in your humanity when you know that you are both a lion and a deer, but with the playfulness of this lovely seahorse, and these are our channeled guidance messages alongside your funny 5D mystic here who loves to integrate it all. So spirituality, and sciences. The playfulness that comes from our ventral vagal state is beyond a shadow of a doubt the fun part of being able to have expansion of consciousness in the forefront. And that's because of having tapped into your infinite higher human conscious potential by having integration and pursuing more of it, by choosing restorative embodiment and pursuing more of it. The other individuals who are still working on the restorative achievement, it's with good therapists. The ones who are not going to do any of it, we have accepted that some people will choose to stay in the unhealthy, no boundaries, unhealthy self-worth modalities. So modulated, dysregulated embodiment involves low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive-aggressive. They don't know that boundaries are about us talking together and then being able to playfully, or as a lion, respectfully, not the roaring kind. It's more of the Simba father's type, okay? So empowered individuals are equanimous. That's why they don't bring unbridled self-expression. They also don't bring their sympathetic, because that's a modulated embodiment. So they're not self-aware if they are in their modulated, or wait, I've heard people who think that they have to stay in their sympathetic because they don't know how to be this grace and generosity. They come with your ventral vagal state. So having firm boundaries doesn't mean you have conditional love. No, I learn from a lot of smart people. Dr. Daniel Fox is one of them. And just the other day, he was explaining how firm boundaries are not something that means I'm giving you conditions that I'm not flexibly talking to you about. It's I respect and love myself. I respect and love you. And we can meet each other in the middle. And if I share with you educationally, it all depends what the topic is. But he gave a really great example. He was talking about pronouns. He said, if I educate you, I use she, her, but I don't know how to ask always, for example. So it was nice to hear, as he says, to those who do use pronouns, that they can educate us. And I appreciate being educated, which is where an empowered human being will say, thank you so much. I am so sorry. I did not know how to use it. And you move forward. Now, there's a difference between the one who's educating you and the one who's the facade. Okay, so we'll know the difference because of the way they come at us. Because the facade is going to make it about their group, and they're going to say, how dare you? You are rude. And they're going to silence you. And they're going to use an ego that is full of insecurity, but they're going to demonize you. When people demonize each other, it's called manipulating and distorting information. And what's happening inside is that their nervous system is not moving out of their teenage version, which is the adaptive child part that is an child's idea of what a grown-up should have done. And that's also why they go on superhero, supervillain journeys. And they're still saving people. So they haven't healed the trauma charges or the trust breaks or any of their unhealthy, maladaptive patterns of behavior and adaptive child parts. No, they're leading with it. You'll know it. When they are rigid and unforgiving, there's your adaptive child. So people who are in that, though, they're in their red and yellow. Thank you, Stephen Porges, for that. So the 5D collective, we don't do anything different. Our community is our community. It's Pacha with Cusco and the squirrel, and from Emperor's New Groove. And then we have Ice Age with Sid and Manny and Diego. We have all varieties, and we maintain this because of that connection to Christ consciousness. See, this is where 5D comes into the mix. I use 5D because it's Christ consciousness who talks about forgiveness, kindness, turning the other cheek. And it's an honor for me who grew up with him and God. And I learned all about this, not what I see those other people doing. No, the other people I have shared more than once. They just keep blaming Lucifer, and they are the first ones who are locked out from their inner child. They are the vanity and they do play within and out group, but they're not playing. They are all adaptive child parts of themselves. And there's Peter Pan with his lost boys and lost girls, and there you go. So anybody who is unforgiving is going to be a person that I know doesn't know of a good therapist. His name is Patrick Tiahan, and that they could go heal their childhood stuff with Patrick, and then, learn if they ever want forgiveness. If not, we're accepting that we can be different, but they will know how not to project their unhealthy, not boundaries at all. They don't know how to talk. So that's why people, what you see online when you see people yelling at each other, they haven't chosen their self. If they're not lovingly presenting and educating to you what they are and who they are, and they're not having fun with it, they're not enlightenment, they're not humanity yet, they're just a bunch of words. So when we have words, though, the 5D collective, we know how to work with that. Why? Because when I'm engaging with any modulated or dysregulated embodied person, I'm having a good time. Like the person who interrupted me, excuse me, you're confusing science and spirituality. No, I'm not. I'm bringing them together. No, you see, I'm a mystic too. This is called an adaptive child part of this human being, because they came in with their left mode. I know everything, or I know that this lady's wrong, and I'm going to interrupt her and tell her this, while the lady was having a completely different conversation. Also, he didn't have the capacity to just hold himself back. 3-year-old right there. I have to share, I have to correct it. The correcting, you ain't here to correct me. I don't work with your thoughts or your emotions, meaning that I'm my own differentiated self. And I'm a person that I'm so used to people doing this shit, and I just get bored to have to do any of teenage attitude, because I met the teenagers as a teenager. I'm a grown up. Thank goodness I'm a grown up now. Even though it's nice that there's the therapists out there so we can have more grown ups, because as a 5D mystic, what I can tell you is that the 4D mystics are not grown ups. So they're a very sad story for me as a mystic to watch as they continue to perpetuate a bunch of identities. But not everybody wants to embody, again, their true self, because it means that they need to go to Patrick Tiahan to get the emotional pain body online. They'd rather talk about their pain body as if they're superheroes and supervillains. So here's one of the recent ones I heard. You have to become a bad person if you want to be attractive. So they think of their shadow and light as them standing up. While it's a teenager attitude, to say the least, it's also not attractive. As a woman, man, anybody who's empowered is going to be like, what are you doing? You're like a little 16-year-old version of yourself, but you're getting older and you're all wrinkly. There's a mismatch of what you're bringing to the table. And so, again, we leave it alone, though, and we know how to handle. That doesn't mean that they're going to like us. In fact, anyone who is an unhealthy boundary person, they will self-select out of your life. Which is why when 4D says that you need to protect yourself and you need to get rid of people, once again, they're creating teams. I've never had to get rid of anyone. If they don't like me, I have some people, they don't like me. It's okay. I never expected to be liked by all people, but I don't feel ashamed of Maria, not even a little bit. In fact, the reality is I have better manners than a lot of people that think they have taught me manners, because I know healthy self-worth, and the trauma and attachment therapists have confirmed every little bit of my good gut that I got, simply because as a teenager I said, why would I be unkind to you? Why would I be a fake person? Why wouldn't I tell you the truth? You're my friend, you're a lover, I'm going to tell you the truth. Why would I not be vulnerable? What kind of a relationship do you think you're building? So facades don't build relationships. They build formalities. They build pretend. That's why I got used to having liars in the forefront, which is why I know how to play with facades, because, you're not a person. Now I know how to explain it to you, my lovely 5D collective. So here we do people, meaning that you come here if you have healthy, firm boundaries, and you are not saying, I have boundaries. No, you're just being yourself. When we meet unhealthy people, they self-select out, because we're not going to say, sure, let me do everything you know. It's going to be, okay, this isn't going to work. There's few people that I have in my circle, and when they do have mannerisms, I will know how to play with it, and then I will also know how to continue repeating myself like a little wheel until they stop, because there are people that don't know how to walk a walk or talk a talk because they've chosen not to. And the repetition is because when you have a child in a room who doesn't hear you, but they're not a child, they're grown up, they're little karma wheels. So it is a very interesting, let's just put it this way. It's good that we have good trauma and attachment therapists out there so that everybody who chooses their self and chooses love, enlightenment, and their humanity will be able to enjoy each other. And then we have, obviously, we're always going to have, well, I shouldn't say always, but I do believe that we're going to keep on seeing 3D, 4D, because the human suffering love narrative is going to be appealing to those who want to live a life that involves the facade, because they don't want to go get their inner child looked into, because it's that find it hard to believe them first 2 years of life means shit. Stop with all the trauma business. I'm going to go and follow the person who tells me that I'm good just the way I am, and that there is a superhero, supervillain group, and that I'm saving people, that I am the vain. See, distorted ego. It's an insecure one because they need to feel special compared to other people as they dissipate in what is, unfortunately, the facade of themselves. So their small energy is going to be very clear again. It's none of our business to tell people what state of consciousness to be in. They don't have to tap into their infinite higher human conscious potential. In fact, even when Sadhguru says if you overflow with your humanity, divinity has to descend, they don't know what that means. Let me explain. It's integrated brain, restorative embodiment self, and it's not the Zen master who has laundry. It's a person who says, like Dr. Daniel Siegel, he's so calm and compassionate, and just like collected. So he says, eustress. Some of us have eustress. See, when I get all passionate, I'm all like, full of energy. Those are my mixed child parts coming up, but I love it. I love being Maria. You can love being you. And then we are going to be okay with the ones who self-select out because we didn't do anything wrong by saying, okay, this is how I do my 24 hours. This is how I speak. This is whatever it is. I will repeat it 3 times. By the 3rd time, I know you don't hear me. So I'm going to now firmly repeat it. By the 5th time, if you don't hear me, I will repeat myself once more. And if I have to be around you, because sometimes we will have Sid and Diego and Manny, I will continue to sound like a broken record, which is why whenever you will meet people who don't know healthy boundaries and they meet somebody who does, you repeat yourself a lot. Yeah, I do, don't I? Good. Let's see how many different ways I can make sure that you understand what I told you, and I won't stop. This is the one thing of perseverance. When you say, accept me for who I am, respect my boundaries, we don't need protection. You just repeat yourself enough times, somebody's going to figure it out. And if they don't like you, well, that's not sad. It's 2024 though. Luckily for us, we have a lot more healthy self-worth people coming around. But there's still plenty of the human suffering, a variety. Without the 2s, we wouldn't have, the choice. And so for bliss, delight, come on over. Pain and suffering and all that other stuff is somewhere else. Passion is amazing. So the roar of a lion is full of invigorating energy. That's why, the 5D collective, again, we choose mindfulness and spirituality. We choose to live and love in this very expanding way. Healing trauma seriously is very important, which is why the mental, emotional, and physical planes become that which you are a master of. And as you pursue higher mental, emotional, and physical intelligence, you're going to pursue those types of ventral vagal state relationships. And when we have the ones who are, again, modulated or dysregulated, we know how to recalibrate and to present our ventral vagal state. Why? Because we don't need to change who we are. So we are going to stand in what is confidence. And any teenager doesn't like it. I met them. They don't like when you say, nope, I'm not going to do what you're doing, so back off. And they will, again, back off though. They will back off because most of the time, people who have this type of attitude, they don't know how to wield left and right. They're a pattern of themselves from a 3-year-old to 16-year-old. They're also upset in their sympathetic, which is why they're attached, cry, collapse, submit, please, appease. It's unfortunate that they don't go to therapy to get it together because their suffering is healable, as is their relationships can expand with more people. So we'll be back with more. Please be as compassionate as can be, playfully. Obviously, if you have to say no, that's where you say no, like this beautiful line. Remember Simba's father and the seahorse, so you can have fun and you can be the presence of equanimity. It's really easy, and be back for more if you are interested. Have a good one.